All right, so speaking of Disney,
Sure.
let's close things off with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And we will get into some spoiler territory. Not that large spoiler territory, but there are a few things that need to be mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So, Ricardo, if you don't mind, I wanted to do this synopsis for this, right? But we
Sure.
have to do a preamble for this. We have to, right?
Yeah.
So, Indiana Jones, right? Raiders of the Lost Ark remains one of my all-time favorite movies,
Right.
and it is still my favorite Indiana Jones film, right? Just simply because, just for me as just this film nerd, right?
Yeah.
It amazes me that something that is so unapologetically pulpy and
Yeah.
simple, just in terms of premise, like it's just a good old-fashioned action adventure, right?
Right.
That involves ancient artifacts with mystical powers,
Yeah.
and the Nazis being dicks and whatnot, and this archaeologist who is this badass dude with a gun and a whip, right?
Yeah.
And of course, John Williams with this magnificent theme song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just amuses me because like when you think about greatest films of all time, right? You always think it has to be something like very refined, like say a Godfather or 2001, right? But this one was just unapologetically this Saturday morning matinee show. Again, it's drawing from serials of the 30s and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But just the mere fact that there was just this exuberance to it, and it's from guys like both Steven Spielberg and George Lucas saying, you know what, the stuff that we grew up on in our childhood, we're gonna make this. We're gonna make
Yeah.
our 80s American, based in 30s equivalent of a James Bond, and we're gonna make it work. And yet, that is why Raiders of the Lost Ark really stood out to me, right? Because it's a pure action adventure, and it is rightfully one of the greatest films ever made, right? When it came to Temple of Doom, however, first time I saw it, actually, when I first saw these films was on cable. I remember
Yeah.
USC used to run these shows, right?
Right.
And I think Sci-Fi used to run it as well too, because they have elements of sci-fi and fantasy, right? So that's why, right? One more elements of fantasy, sorry, right? Temple of Doom. The first time when I saw it, I was taken aback by it. I was not disturbed really, but I was
Well,
offended, if you will,
a little
because
bit.
of the
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
because of
A
the
little.
representation of Indians, right,
Yeah.
in it, right?
Yeah.
Especially with that famously bizarre scene
Monkey
with
brains.
the
Yeah.
killed monkey brains and all
Yeah.
that
That
kind of
bullshit.
stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That
Yeah,
bullshit. Yeah. Yeah.
and even right down to the Kali cult and all that kind of stuff. It
Yeah.
just felt like it was just taking all these negative Indian stereotypes and
Yeah.
putting them in an American film, right? So dumb America's gonna think that's how Indians. Wow,
Yeah.
look at how
Yeah.
savage they are, right? But over the years, and as I understood what was going through with both George Lucas and Spielberg, yeah, I understand why it's dark and whatnot, right? But over the years, I've grown to appreciate it, and I now love the film, right? Just merely because of how ballsy it was. It took risks. It took risks to the point that they literally had to create a rating that would be the PG-13 rating because of how dark it is, right? But to the show's credit, it's not too dark. But
Yeah.
when you talk about Temple of Doom, you always like to talk about the dark stuff, especially like with the scene with the guy getting his heart ripped off, right? But actually, like, I'm bringing this up because I actually watched over all four films, the first four in preparation for this, right? But yeah, it's still like you could tell that Spielberg was still working around the PG rating,
Yeah.
because yes, there are a few disturbing scenes, yes, right? But what I do admire about this show here, it does not revel in the disturbing nature of the shows. It does not revel in the violence. Like case in point, like there's a moment where both Indiana and Short Round, right, played by Ki Hu Kwan, are being whipped, right, and it's just like too lash to the back, like it's done too
Yeah.
too serious, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't revel in the darkness. It doesn't revel in the violence. And I see this because it still has that exuberance and fun to it. Like the third act is amazing. Like
Yeah.
I'm just watching this. I'm like, wow, boy, this is literally like a theme park ride. Like I'm just experiencing this from start to end, though, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like literal chills I was having watching that third act is amazing, right? And yeah, I actually love the film, right? And for better or for worse, yeah, Stephen meet his wife, right? Kate Capshaw, right? Yeah, she annoying as fuck, but hey, she was funny in it.
I think Kathleen Kennedy is in this in the beginning. The infamous, famous Kathleen Kennedy amongst, it depends on who you talk to, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And she is now part of this,
yeah,
of,
she's like
the
the
Indiana
head
Jones
of,
series now,
yeah, yeah, no, she's the head, effectively head of, Star Wars or whatever it is, right? So yeah,
Yes, yes,
like she
exactly.
starts her career here,
So
yeah,
yeah, so now for just talking quickly, right? So now for Last Crusade, right? Great film, love it, right? But what really the sell of it working though is the chemistry, the
yeah,
magnetic chemistry between
I,
Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. It
yeah,
is so fun. It's so fun to watch, man.
yeah, this is my favorite. It's my favorite. I actually like this more than the first film.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
there's a lot of people
yeah,
that would say that, right?
yeah,
And really for me, why I understand that and why I think it works, right? It just goes back to basics. That's really what it was, right? Yes, it has a PG-13 rating, but it's not as violent or over the top with the gore or whatnot, like like the last two films were, right? I'm using gore in quotes, right? But yeah, it's just fun. It's breezy. It really does feel like you're watching a Bond film, and it's so funny because you have Sean Connery, right? Yeah, it has the feel of watching a Bond film, like
yeah,
going from country to country, going through all these amazing set pieces and action sequences. It really does feel like that, right? And I love the third act though with the three tests and the Holy Grail and that kind of stuff. And just that closes shot with our heroes right off in the sunset
yeah,
gives me chills. Hearing the song playing in the background, I love that, right? And for me, like again, recapping this shit, it's the perfect conclusion to the Indiana Jones trilogy. But here's the problem. It's not the end, you know? And I'm watching this and I'm like screaming mentally, why this could be the end? Like, this is a
yeah,
great
yeah,
way to end the series.
yeah,
But no, in 2008, Spielberg and Lucas say, nah, well, let me just do one, and Harrison Ford, they say, nah, well, let me just do one last one, man. They call it Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, right? I'm gonna mention Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with the review of this one here, right? So, yes, like many people, the first time we see it, we were let down. We were wondering, what the hell is this? It's goofy, it's silly. But looking at it again, I kind of appreciate it just a little more. Really,
yeah.
right? So
I'll
for me,
say here's my
uh-huh,
attitude. Here's my attitude on
uh-huh.
Christmas. I'll admit that most of my hate for it comes from internet echo chamber hate for it. Like
Yes, yes,
right,
it was fun to hate on
right,
that show back
right
then,
at the
right? Yeah,
time. Because especially with the fridge and everything. But like when you watch it, it's like all right, well, I mean, it sucks. I mean, nowhere near as good as thing. But about as good as, in my humble opinion, about as good as the second one. It's fine.
agreed. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's up.
It still has that fun. It's
Yeah,
just there's a lot of goofy shit in it, right?
yeah,
And my main gripe with it is that there's a lot of great ideas in this, right?
yeah,
Even right down, even though I know it offended some people. Even the whole connection with Mayan civilization to possible aliens or
right, right.
extraterrestrials, kind of like that. I
Yeah,
kind
well,
of like
Paul,
that.
it's
It
fine.
kind of fits with
Yeah,
Spielberg's over, right? Because
yeah,
remember about a few years ago he put out War of the Worlds, which
right.
yeah I still haven't rewatched, but whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it kind of works, right? But like for every great idea, for every great moment and set piece or whatnot, they would just do some goofy shit.
yeah,
So it's not so much that they have Indy jumping into a fridge when there's this oh gosh, this nuclear bomb test or
yeah,
whatnot.
yeah,
But right after that, you have the Schumer goofers. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's
Here we
like
go.
that.
Yeah.
You have this chase scene in the jungle, and I get it. Okay, we
Well,
want to
right.
do
So
the
the
whole,
big drama over it
African
was
Queen stuff with the jungle stuff. But during that, you want to show me Shia LaBeouf swinging on
yeah,
vines like Tarzan. You know
yeah,
what
that
I
was
mean?
rough.
Like fundamentally, I get what they're going at, but they always throw some dumb shit. Even
Yeah,
right down to the very end with the reveal of the alien stuff, it's like
yeah, that
I
was weak too.
kind of get it. But
Yeah,
when you get to Kate Blanchett as the villain now, and she being, information just being processed into, I'm like,
yeah,
what is this? So that's my main thing with the show, right? So for every great idea they have, they just always throw some dumb shit at, right? But it still had this fun charm to it, though. I kind of like the back and forth between Harrison and Shia LaBeouf. I know Shia said some stuff behind the scenes, but whatever. Um, I felt unfortunately that Karen Allen was wasted in this. I felt there
right.
was no reason to bring back Marion. And I'm gonna talk about that with this review here
Hmm.
in the spoiler section. Yeah, I felt that she was pointless in this too. It was just okay. We just really needed to renew their relationship again.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's make Shia character mutt. Let's yeah, he's her son, right? So okay,
Well, what they do,
whatever.
what they do with they kind of do the put they make mutton to pucci. That's all I'll say, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did it right. Yeah,
they make mutton
but
to pucci. Yeah,
yeah, but I will lie though, just in closing, it's still a fun film to watch, though. It's just
Right.
not any film I'm gonna go back to.
Right.
Right? The first three I could watch anytime, anywhere, but this fourth one is like, all right, let's try, okay.
Yeah.
And I would have accepted it as just the end because I actually do like the end of it, where Indy and Marion get married. There's a great moment where the hat blows and it goes to Shia's feet. He picks it up and he did
Yeah.
take it. Oh, she's gonna put it on, and Indy takes it up from him and he walks away. And the camera just sticks on Shia the Sky style. I'm like, what the fuck, boy?
Yeah.
He just
Right.
walks out afterwards. Like, I love that. That's great. Like, just seeing basically there's only gonna be one Indy, right? What that feels like is like the epilogue nobody asked for, but we got anyway.
Right.
It's his Toy Story 4. It's not as great as
Right.
Toy
Right.
Story 4, of course. But is the epilogue that we kinda needed, I guess, because I guess they had to just fix back the relationship between him and Marion. So it's like, okay, all
I
right, well,
suppose.
that's done. But here we are now in 2023, and we have a fifth film, right?
Hmm.
And yes, I was hearing about, they're making it, and I saw the first still of it and whatnot, right? But I wasn't really thinking about it all that much. I was just like, all right, well, Harrison Ford or El Oldo. Like,
Yep.
no lie, right? I love the fact that he was in Blade Runner 2049, right? It's one of my favorite movies the past decade, right? I love how Rick Deckard was worked into this new story, right? But I know they're not going to do that with Indiana 5. It has to be him front and center. But how is he going to be Indiana when he's this old? Like in
Right.
Crystal Skull, understand, yeah, okay, but here is like he's really old. So what are they gonna do? And well, I'll get to that in my review, right? But yeah,
Right.
Ricardo, before you jump into what this new movie is about, yeah, your quick history with the four films. You could just
Yeah.
say
Again,
general way you think about them.
much like with you, I saw it on cable. I was never into this franchise anywhere near as much as other franchises. It's one of these franchises that is a product at the time in that sense. I like I kind of like the first one enough. Like again, I get why people like it so much, but again, it came before my time. So whatever. Then second one was just kind of weird nonsense, and again, I only remember it for being just really offensive to Indian people. Like that's the way it was. We live in a country with majority Indian people, so I was very aware of that. And then the
Right.
third
But
one,
you may never rewatch it though.
I once or twice is fine. Like
Okay.
because it's
I promise you if you watch it over again, just with an open mind, you'll appreciate it, right?
I mean
It's not
it's
as offensive as all that.
yeah, I mean it is what it is. Like I know what it is. Like it's whatever. And it's one of those things that at the time is just a bad space, so it's fine. Like now we could probably like ignore that kind of stuff. But whatever, moving on. But yeah, I just didn't get into the third one is again still have been my favorite. Is the one I enjoy the most. I have a lot of fun with it. Sean Connery and Harrison Ford is great together. And Sean Connery is like what only like what 10 years above older than him or something like that. So they make it work. Right? Like he feels like it's that. A lot of great set pieces. The big reveal at the end is great. Like what is the actual
Yeah, his
thing.
name, yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
great.
named the dog Indy?
No, but like the whole the actual thing they're fighting over and what it is with the copper Christ
Oh,
and
yeah,
whatever it
yeah,
is.
the
Yeah,
Holy Grail.
yeah,
That's
solid
great,
stuff.
right?
It's solid stuff. I can't be mad. Again, four, it's one of those things that just you hate it only because people on the internet tell you to hate it. It was the internet at the time, back when dig.com was a thing, right? And then yeah, as I say, this is a franchise that I felt just never like hold me because it's a franchise to me that you could easily evolve from, and you don't have to hold on to this. There's nothing specifically unique about this because, like, I'm just gonna be honest, the Uncharted franchise kind of took over for me, and even the Tomb Raider franchise kind of took over for me in terms of this Tomb Raider, skullduggery stuff now, in terms of like what it
Yeah.
kind of
And
set.
it's modern, right? It's more
Right,
modern than
exactly,
the I hate Nazi stuff. Like, I
right,
mean, just to be fair, just sorry, just stop you there, right? Yes, Readers and Last Crusade are great fuck fuck Nazi movies, right?
right,
That's essentially what they are, right?
yeah,
But yeah, at the point in time, it's like, all right, well, we need to do Nazis again, though, like,
right, right,
And I'll
yeah,
talk about that with the show here, right?
right,
But we forgot to mention, well, for me, how I was introduced to the franchise weirdly was through a show called Young Indiana Jones, because it used to
okay,
show
right,
on Channel 4, right,
right. I
8
was
p.m.
vaguely
And
familiar with the show. I watched a couple episodes, yeah.
I just never got into it. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, yeah, and so as I say, if you're doing the whole adventure man, King Solomon's Mine stuff, it's like, all right, it's fine. Like, it never roped me in as much as other things. As I said, other franchises did this, in my humble opinion, did it better and evolved better. And it's one of those things that we could have just move on from, and if they just leave it to the part three, it would have been fine. It would have been a nice product of history. But like Harrison Ford, he had to get a paycheck, so whatever. And my attitude, I kind of look at it as if you just take from a thing, and I prefer the spiritual sequels. Don't try to continue. Don't waste your time with that. there's a reason why I think Uncharted is more engaging to me by far than this. But they did what they did, and it's fine. I don't have a problem with any of that. But yeah, that's how I feel about all of this. So moving on.
If you don't mind, you just want to fill us in on what Dial of Destiny is about.
Sure. So I forget what year it was in, but I think it was like in the 1939, I think. Indy was doing another something against the Nazis, and
Yeah,
Mads Mik-
it's roughly around that time because
yeah,
the first and the third films were like in the mid 30s.
right,
So
right.
yeah, technically this is late
So
30s,
yeah,
early
yeah, yeah.
40s if you will.
They do a big CGI thing for Harrison Ford in the beginning, and
Yeah, we will talk about that
yeah,
because
which I
one of the big criticisms, debates of the show is the deep fake, right? But yeah,
it wasn't that bad. Like, but they just overdo it. But I thought it was actually pretty well done for what it is. It's probably the best I've seen this technology utilized anyway. But yeah, Mads
agreed.
Mikkelsen,
Yeah, me too.
yeah, Mads Mikkelsen in the past, and he meet him, which I thought Mads Mikkelsen was kind of wasted in this, however. They find something, but they find something, and he took it back in the past. So Mads Mikkelsen, so time passed, and then roughly they jump 30 years because what 1969 now. Uh, a jumping pass and the same plot device. Well, it's basically the Antikythera era mechanism, right? That's a famous kind of mechanism. Is really just a simple clock, from what I understand, or timekeeper. But they make a big
Right.
thing out of this in this one, and they hold it, and then what's your name, boy? From Fleabag, Phoebe Wallace. I forget the actress name.
Oh gosh, I forget. It is Phoebe Waller Bridge.
Waller Bridge, right?
Yeah,
She
she plays
she
Helena.
she
Sure.
plays Helena, right? She plays that character. She come true, but she like pretended to be indie friend, but she's like a little skullduggery herself, kind of a shitty person herself. And then they went with that, and yeah, I was, I was the only reason I was going into this with some hype for it, not hype, but like yeah, okay, it might be not so bad. Is because the director, right? Mangold
Yes,
is
yes, James Mangold.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty solid business, all things considered. For what he was trying to go for and make it work with. And yeah, I didn't mind any of that. For him, he was fine. He's a person who you gotta know what to do with him and make. Yeah, he understand direction. He's the first director who not is not Spielberg. Like, all right, so we're doing something with that now. And yeah, I didn't hate any of this for what it is, because I'll admit, yeah, because I'm not an indie fan, I'm not super invested. But it's clearly Star Trek Picard season 3 all over again. Like, it's the same, doing all the beats and pointing to all the people who love this bullshit. But yeah, it's fully nostalgia sludge. I really thought involving one of the plot devices that we was going to get some Avengers Endgame nonsense. I really thought he was going to get that, but that's not what they did with it, and it's all right. And the ending was all right, but like mostly they just do back another character. They have a Brong short wrong in this, and they have a this. And I thought the person I thought the severely waste was what do you call it, Anthony Thing. We call him Zorona.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Antonio Banderas, who I
Antonio
didn't even
Banderas.
know was gonna be in this show. Like,
Yeah, and I
really?
thought
You in this?
I felt he should have been like the
Why?
instead of Phoebe Waller Bridges, I felt it should have been him. But he just got a little small part. It's like whatever, moving on. And yeah, he just was like kind of normal with this, in and out. And was this necessary? Probably. I don't know. um, but it was I didn't hate it. Like, but I couldn't. I wasn't invested enough to not hate it. I was hearing terrible news about it. I thought this would be hot garbage because of what I was hearing about it. But it's like, alright, it's fine. And I suppose it is. If it poke the right spot in your brain, it'll work. But I didn't hate this. It was fine. Whatever. In and
All
out
right,
for
well,
me. 'Cause I'm not invested in Indiana
hmm.
Jones. I don't really care all that much, but I didn't hate it because, well, Mangold was solid. It had some decent set pieces for what it was. I really wish they did more with Miles Mickelson, especially his death. Like, really, they didn't do a big, weird, like, magic death for him. Like, you see how in the
I'll
first
talk
one,
about that.
yeah, in the first
Hmm.
one now they had the wax people melting, the wax Nazis melting. Or like in the third
Yeah,
one, where the guy aged super fast. That was real cool. Or what happened to
it
Kate?
was.
What happened to what's her name? Kate in the fourth one, but she had the
Yeah,
inflammation, eyes
or
going off.
the bad guy in the second one falling into this river alligators, bro.
Yeah, or whatever. But you get my point, right? Like, it was just in and out for me, and that's about it. I really felt like they changed the ending. I don't know. I can't help but feel that ending was changed somehow because it just kind of weird and don't seem to fit with the rest of the film. Like, I get what they're going for, but I really thought they were going to do some Avengers Endgame nonsense with that. With especially with giving the nature of the plot device. Now, like, all right, well, that what they're gonna do with it. That's what's gonna happen. Nope, we don't get that. We get something else, and then they just end it quick and they wrap it up, and that's it. It ends, and it literally ends on a cartoon circle frame with the hat.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
sort of old timey, and I
right,
get it. You know,
right.
yeah,
This didn't feel like a final movie for India at all, but it does feel like a fun kind of fun thing. And look, because I don't give a shit about Indie, it's a popular franchise. Time to move on, but whatever. Eh, I couldn't get myself to care one way or the other, so it was all right. It was fine. Yeah.
yeah. All right.
I apologize if I'm not talking hyped, right? So whatever.
No, no, it's understandable, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is gonna be kind of hard for me to review though, but I'll do my best, and then we'll get to spoilers, of course, right? So for me, the best way I could sum this film up is that this is very indie-esque.
Yeah.
It it looks and sounds like an Indiana film,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel like one. It feels very watered down. It
Yeah.
feels very mundane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just feels very stale. You know, in terms of what they're doing. You know, just in execution. You know what I mean? And it's just so ironic, right, that the story is set on an aging, indie, right, who is years beyond his prime, and he just trying to find his place in the world, and he has to come to terms with times are changing. We don't really need you anymore, and that's seen in an offensive way, right? But
Yeah.
the character. And that is how this show felt like to me. Just like, all right, the time for this has long gone, right?
Yeah.
Since '89 with Last Crusade. That
Yeah.
okay, we had one in 2008 that everybody asked for, right? But we and we kind of hated it. But again, as I said over the years, I kind of appreciate it as just this dumb fun movie.
Right.
But even that note too could have been the end, right? But this one, even though it trying to say is the end, I don't think it is, right? I think that it is, and just to go on with Kathleen Kennedy here, um, it's designed in such a way that we could get more films out of this. We could see more adventures of Indy, right? But I don't know how that's gonna play out, seeing with the actor getting older and the character getting older as well too.
Yeah.
I don't see it, right? And you could tell me, well, Indiana Jones is such a beloved character.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, he
You can say
is. I
so. Yeah.
understand that, but we live in a world where we could actually cast other people to play the role, or we could make spin-offs or whatnot if you want
Again.
to. But
Again.
for me personally, I'll shut up at this point here, right? Honestly is a franchise that don't need to go on, Dread.
Thank you.
So
Yeah. No,
unfortunately,
here's the
while
thing.
I'm watching this and I am admiring everything that's seen here, ultimately it just felt pointless. It just felt
Yeah.
pointless to me,
No, my
But yeah, go on.
again, my attitude is that you could have again you could have the spiritual sequel. You don't need to have the Indiana Jones franchise. Like I don't think because I don't think it's as marketable as people making it out to be either. Like oh, it need to be indie. It can't be this other video game franchise or whatever it is. Like to me, and to be fair, the movie versions of those sucked. Right, both the Tomb Raider and the recent Tomb Raider and the Uncharted franchise movie sucked ass. So fine, like but whatever. But I don't know. I just not into this in the same way it could be. Like it just this could have been so much smarter and more intelligent. And I don't know. I don't know if it's just the genre itself, like the whole adventure, old school Tomb Raider and stuff. If that's not being interested in the archaeology stuff, I'm not sure. But none of this is engaging. None of it.
All right,
So
so I'm a counter that with this, right? Good thing you bring that up, right?
yeah,
So to touch on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, right? And quote me on this if you want to, right?
sure.
I'm gonna see this. I actually prefer Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, with flaws and all.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy that slightly more than this,
Okay.
slightly more. I'll
Okay.
tell you why. I'll tell
Fine.
you why
Yeah.
for one simple reason. Steven Spielberg.
Right.
One of I would say the main factor of this franchise even working, and I haven't seen the series, so I don't really know, right?
Yeah.
But the movies themselves, the reason why these films work so well is Spielberg. He has that sort of, it's with those films, it has that again, that old school sort of childlike Saturday morning serial vibe to it, right?
Yeah.
It's drawing from nostalgia and giving you a film that feels nostalgic. And over the years, when you watch it, you get nostalgia. So it's nostalgia on top of nostalgia, right? So even something like Crystal Skull, as dumb and over the top as it was, still had that, oh, we're going into the depths of the jungle and we're trying to uncover this and all that kind of stuff, right? So it kind of fits within that sort of Saturday, vibe now, that sort of comic book kind of vibe to it too, that, it's that old school stuff, right? But because he put that energy into it, right, it works. James Mangold is great as a director, right? And I
Right.
thought that he knocked it out of the park with this one, right?
Right.
He,
But yeah, I
as
thought
far as that tribute,
this one had good set pieces because it didn't do the cargo cultish nature that like if J.J. Abrams could have make this and he would have just do it
right,
just like
right.
Spielberg. He do your own thing. Like like
Yes,
I don't mind that.
yes.
He do your own thing. It's
Yes,
fine.
I appreciate that. I love the fact that he put his own spin in it, right?
Right.
Even something as simple as saying we're not gonna tell you the year, we're not gonna tell you the location. A character will just say we go in here and you'll see here. Not gonna see a title card, right?
Right.
There's one instance of the with all these films you always get the map scene, right? Or
Right.
the
They do the
globe
map thing.
scene,
Yeah. They
right?
do the map thing a
They
couple
only do
times.
yeah,
Right.
they only do it they do it once actually. And I'm like, all right,
They
okay.
didn't do it twice because I swear I remember they do it once and then on another part with a boat. That's why they do it twice. Whatever.
All right. Yes, yes, yes. They did.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I could be wrong, right? I only
Whatever.
saw it
Whatever.
yesterday. I swear they saw it once, right? But
Right.
whatever.
Right. Right.
But yeah, like and I would say just right off the bat, the opening action sequence is fantastic, though, right? It
Right.
really it feels like uh a tribute to Last Crusade,
Right.
because it's in
That
Germany and
other
it's with
parody.
Nazis and all that
No,
kind
but
of stuff,
and
right?
then Last Crusade had a flashback too, so it was like okay.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And just to touch briefly, I'll get to my points in a bit, right? Just to touch briefly on the deepfake stuff, right? It's convincing. It looked
It's
good and
pretty good.
whatnot. Yeah, even like because there's a moment where like a light, a flashlight is being shown on his face.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit. Now we're
Yeah.
gonna see the flaws.
No,
Like
it look good.
nah,
Yeah.
they look good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
been looking at the eyes and the
I
mouth,
got
but
the
they look
problem with
good.
it. You got the only problem with it is it just lasts longer than it should have. Like you see, remember Peter Cushing and
Rogue One.
Rogue One, right, or something like that. Like the problem with them thing is that if it was just in the shade and you just seen it from the side, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But with this now, they have it in the face and thing, but it still look real good all things considered. I was like, all right, well, it's not so
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
though.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it does look like 80s Indiana Jones. That's what they're
right,
going for. They're going for 80s Indiana Jones in particular, right? It's just the voiceover still sounds like old man Harrison Ford.
right.
But yeah, 'cause the voice still sounds very much like
Yep.
old Harrison Ford. What they could have done was just get a voice actor to play him, but gotta be a celebrity, blah
Yeah,
blah
they have
blah,
time
right?
for that.
Well,
They have time
yeah.
for that.
Also, a couple of the CG moments look kind of wonky though. Like there's a moment where you see Indy running on top of a tree, and I like, oh,
Yeah,
you could have do
whatever.
that better, bro.
Yeah, whatever.
Look at that, right? It looked like a video game, bro. Like, look at that, right? But yeah, and just the way how James handled action sequences was really cool, like with the chase scenes and whatnot. They look cool, and I like how he made the film feel kind of old timey, with the lenses and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And not just talk about color grade, I just talk about just how it's shot, right? It
right,
has a sort of a filmic vibe to it, right? The acting is solid for the most part. Like
right.
Harrison Ford will always be Indiana Jones, and he does not half-ass it here. He's very believable in more ways than one as this agent Indiana Jones is like what, or I should say Henry Jones Jr. You know what I mean? Like he wants like he's done with it. In this case, he's done with it. He's not like ducking out of windows like he did in Last Crusade, seeking more adventure. Nah, he's done, and it makes sense, right? And then he is somehow roped into this adventure now, thanks to Helena Shaw, who is played by Phoebe, right? Phoebe for me was neither here nor there.
Yeah,
She
I
was
didn't.
just there.
I was underwhelmed with her.
She kind of annoyed me at some points,
Yeah,
but like for me, I just felt like especially her motivation, because it
right,
all boils around this MacGuffin of this ancient clock, right?
right,
Well, the dial, right? And this would be a fact, well, which her father acquired, and they tried to do this similar thing with Sean Connery's character,
right.
well, kind of related to Sean Connery's character, where he's so obsessed over this item and blah blah blah, right? You know, but in this case, it's like, okay, your father had it, he dead. You want to sell it now to pay off some guy because some guy what was trying to date you. So it was just so binding not binding numbers. It was just so there like, okay, like this is why you want this thing. Like, I understand one of the main themes of this series is greed, right? I want the arc because I want to be powerful, and I want this because I want to be rich and blah blah blah. But here's to pay off a debt. Like, you're serious?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it
Kind
is.
of lame. Yeah.
So you have this chase scene because you want to keep this thing, and then well, Matt's come in and steal it, and you get big chasing. But other than that, you want this thing, and you put in this poor old man. Sorry to call him that. Through all this, because you want to pay off a debt.
Right.
You're serious? It's over some
Well,
bullshit,
they
right?
try to do what they try to do as well is him being caring and a lot more like well aware because they kill off Antonio Banderas' character and he's like my friend
Yeah,
died, stuff like that. It's
because
fine.
reasons.
Yeah,
I just I didn't even have much to say about him about Tony Banderas because
they
he
didn't
just
do
came
nothing.
in. I didn't know he was gonna be in it, and like 5-10 minutes later, he just gone. I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
okay. Mickelson, he is
kind of wasted.
kind of wasted here.
Kind of wasted.
I'll talk about that in the spoiler. Like his motivation once it's revealed was so stupid, made
Well,
no sense. And compared it to the other over the top, delusions of grandeur that we saw with our other villains, it's like, come on, man, really?
yeah,
That's what it's about, really? The setup with him, and so this is not spoilers, right? I'll get these spoiler bits in a bit, right? Don't worry, right? So I don't know. You can really tell, right? So I was watching credits, right? And I see four people write this thing, right? Including
hmm
James, right? I did like, yeah, that make a lot of sense, but
yeah.
like it's not two people like back in the days, like George Lucas or what that was a writer. Now it's four writers, right? And you could really see that way because you see idea, but they do coalesce at all, right?
That's
So
all. Yeah.
case in point, Mads, right? Who plays Jurgen, right? I think that's his name, right? Yeah, so he has these like American agents working with him, but you're not sure why they
Well,
working with
yeah. No.
him,
Well, all
but
right. So the
because he
idea is
kind of
that
align with them,
yeah. No.
and then
Okay. I kind of
huh,
get it because the idea. Remember they clean up. They a lot of Nazis get a second shot in America. No? I forget what the name it is.
right? Hmm.
Project. I forget the name it, but it's basically a bunch of Nazis who get through in America. They get away. So see, he's one of those. That's why only Indy recognize him as a Nazi.
As a Nazi,
Whatever.
right? Because right,
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was expecting more out of. So basically, it's a group of agents that we see, right?
Yeah.
And there's this one guy who on crutches, and he never explained why or what his motivation was
Yeah.
for.
Whatever.
But then, like,
And then they had this
they just kind of like write them out to the story. That's all I'll say.
and
And it's like, well, what's the point of having them
yeah,
there?
and then they had this black woman. I know she face in thing. I like what's she from,
Yeah,
boy?
I think she was in a Black Panther movie, probably the first one. I was watching the face good, right?
Right.
Yeah, even she and all too was wasted, right? It's like, yeah, because I mean, she looked pretty interesting, right? And
Yeah.
she
This
is,
one.
well, sorry to say this, one of the few black people in this movie, but
Right.
I just did like, yeah, I want to see more of this character though, and then well, they just kind of kill you off. I'm like, all right, well,
Yeah.
okay,
But what's her name,
why?
boy? Um.
She was one of the Dora
And,
Malachi. That was it.
okay. Okay. I'm trying to think
Yeah,
out.
I read it up here though.
Well, I'm trying to think what she name in thing. Whatever.
Oh, her
Whatever.
name is Shawnette Renee Wilson.
What she was in. Well,
And
look.
she is also Guyanese born. So look at that. Wow. Okay. Right.
Right.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
But yeah. So few things for you, right? Visually, it looks great, right? It really does harken back. It really does feel like like a modern take on on an Indiana Jones film, right?
Right.
And that's why I say indie-esque because the 1969 stuff, I was kind of liking the references to in the 30s where we have these over the top chase sequences, but now
Right.
we can't do that because in this case, like case the point, we have a parade going on. So how that's gonna play out, right?
Yeah, and I thought
Now
that
we have
parade sequence was
like
okay.
all that
Yeah.
stuff is cool. Like all
Yeah, I
that
thought that
stuff
was
is cool.
okay.
Like so, in other words, it just to sum things up, if we had just swapped the character of Indiana Jones and it was just somebody else,
Yeah.
and you have those set pieces, yeah, it would have worked though. But because it's Indiana Jones, it just feels like
I
this is the best way I could sum it up, and then then we'll get to spoilers. It feels like the magic is gone. It
yeah.
feels like the thrill is gone. Like I was watching these moments, and I'm just remembering what I saw over the last four movies. Yes, I said four movies, and just the exuberance and the just the thrill of it all, man.
Yeah.
Just like it's just basically like even though I can't relate to it, yeah, like somebody hacked, like going back to like a kid and
Yeah.
that kind of vibe now, you know what I mean? And just the adventure aspect of it all too, it still felt fresh. Here it just feels really watered down there. It
Yeah.
really felt stale. It just feels like purposeful, like okay, we have to play these beats because that's what the audience wants. And we
I
had a kind of hint that we could get another film out of this because that's what the real fans want. But I'm sorry, by now, and I'm speaking as somebody who not really invested in this either. Um, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was enough. We did not need this. It just feels like the joy is gone. And yes, I applaud the fact that Spielberg is not directing this and somebody else is doing it, and George Lucas not writing this, somebody else doing it. It's fine, right? So you want to give the impression that this franchise is in good hands now. But do we need this? No, unfortunately, we just
I
don't. It just feels like a studio
I got.
decision.
I was gonna give my last line and then give my score quick. Score.
Yeah, yeah, give it, and then I'll give mine, and then we'll get to
I
just
would.
a few spoilers I want to
Yes,
mention, right? But yeah, go on.
a quick 6 out of 10. I think we should have a third Tintin movie by now instead of this. Whatever. That's all feel.
Why?
Yeah, that's all feel. That's yeah, whatever.
Spielberg, what
Yeah,
happened,
yeah,
Dre?
exactly.
Like 2011, you actually put on one of my favorite shows of that year with the
Yeah,
Adventures of Tintin. The
yeah,
first movie I saw in IMAX, right? That was
yeah,
when I was in the States.
yeah,
Where's the sequel, bro? What's
yeah.
going on? What's going on, right?
Whatever.
But yeah,
Yeah,
for me, rating wise,
yeah,
strong 2.5 to a light 3, man.
yeah.
See it if you want to. If you're an indie fan, you'll appreciate it more, I guess.
I
But
suppose. Yeah.
sorry, you have three superior films and one
Because
mid
here's the thing, eh?
film
Yeah, what I'll
that more
say,
or less
what I'll
do
say,
more than this one could
I
do,
feel,
man.
I
I'm
feel if
sorry.
I was an indie fan, I'd really hate this because it really feeling like it feeling like Star Trek Picard season 3. That nostalgia
And
sludge.
believe me, there are diehard indie fans who are hating on this film.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
that for sure. Yeah,
It could really feeling like nostalgia sludge. That's what it feel
yeah,
like.
that's
As I
what it is.
say,
Nostalgia sludge. Yeah.
look, I still patting my generation on the back getting all the bile out. They get it out. Okay, last in the
All
movie,
right.
all right. You have all the bile,
Yes, yes.
all
You
the
buy
nostalgia
out,
bile.
right? No, 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 no. Go get some mouthwash and move
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
right?
you
That's
know,
what it
right?
is, right?
You get to see what do you call him? A pat on the back. We do it last time. You get to see Nicolas Cage in a Superman outfit on screen. Okay, you're done. Enough.
Yay!
Right, enough,
Yeah.
enough.
And
Time
I
to.
can say one last thing before we get to spoilers, right? I do appreciate how they worked in the old man character because
Yeah,
when I
it's
was hearing
fine.
depict this and depict that, I was
Right.
worried that the entirety of the show was going to be
Well, I thought
slightly younger indie, but I'm glad that
no.
it is legit old
What
indie.
what
So
I thought.
what's like? So I do like that they work. They make they design the action scenes in such a way that yes, he does get physical, and yes, you do see how worn down he is and whatnot. Like there's a moment where he's trying to climb up this mountain and
Yeah.
whatnot, right, or the edge of a mountain, whatever it is, right. But I like that they don't push him and have him doing too much stuff, right,
Well,
to the point of
he's
just
doing a
being
couple
overly
things that
nonsensical.
he was doing a couple things that was like, oh, he punched that guy. He really punched that guy. Yeah, whatever.
And lastly, I'll say this, right? It's great that John Williams came back to do the score for this.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
It doesn't stick out to me as much as the others, unfortunately, though, just mainly because of how kind of droll and dry the show was for me personally. And this little nitpick, though, as much as I love John Williams, though, he does this slow version of the team
He phoned
during
the
the,
team.
the end credits.
Yeah.
It's not phoned in, but I just feel like sitting
It,
down
it
like
feel folded.
why? Why? Why?
Yeah.
Because we want to hear da da da
Yeah. He
da
do this
da da da.
some
We
bullshit.
hear
Yeah.
da 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 da.
Tired.
Like I get it.
He going to
Old
sleep.
time age, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. But dog, not on one of the greatest theme songs of all time, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We want that energy.
Yeah.
And just like the old character, just like the character himself, and I'll close this. It just feels drained out. It's just like I'm done. I'm
I'm done.
tired.
I'm done.
Why
Yeah.
are they want me to do this for? Why, Kathleen? Kathleen, sorry, stop it there, please. Stick
Yeah.
with your Star Wars. Oh gosh, leave me
Yeah.
alone,
Enough.
right? And that's how I felt with this, right? So I have to mention a few spoilers. So spoiler territory, you've been warned, right? I have to talk about that third act, boy.
Yeah. So
Um,
okay, as I said, I really
what?
thought we was going to get some Avengers Endgame nonsense. I thought
Oh, with the time reset. Okay,
exactly. I
well,
thought they was going to go back to the 1930s and old India and young India was going to talk to each other, some shit like that, and go and
I was
fight
thinking the same
and was
thing
going
too,
to
bro.
fight together, some bullshit like that. I thought we was going to get that. I was really worried that we was going to get that,
Yeah,
and I was
no, dog. I was about to cuss, like
exactly.
cuss out loud if that was gonna happen, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
But
But then we didn't
I'll
get that.
bring up some quickly, right? I did cuss out loud, eh? But
But then
I'll mention the moment in a bit. But
yeah,
go
what
ahead.
they decide to do, is like, all right, they go back to the time arcade immediately. So so he kind of get his stopwatch wrong. So instead of going back, because he want to go back 30 years or so, but he end up going back like what, like
Yeah,
2,000 years or whatever it is. Like all right, whatever.
right. So
That's
just
was
suppose for a sec, right? So
that
that
just
was
fell flat,
actually the motivation. Yeah, that was the motivation of Mads' character, right?
right?
And
To go
this was
back
the thing
and
that I just didn't like, right?
yeah,
So your motivation as a Nazi doctor is like, well, I want to go back into World War II because
right,
I want to kill Hitler, and I
Right.
want to be the new Hitler.
Right.
And
Cool.
look at me in my shiny Nazi outfit. Mwahahaha.
Yeah, you know,
I'm
I
like,
didn't,
bro, really, bro?
I didn't hate any of that because I get it. He's a Nazi. He want to go back and thing, and
I
he thought
know
Hitler.
it's a fuck Nazi movie, right? But oh
Right.
gosh, man, that's
Yeah.
really plausible, bro. Like you
Look.
telling me for all these years, right? Don't get me wrong, right? We all thought that he was decapitated and whatnot, and the show never even bothered to explain how he survived, the whole train fight or whatever it is, right? But dog, you're telling me with right? So okay, you acquire this thing that could take you back in time, right? Okay, you want to kill Hitler?
Cool. That's fine. He wanted to take
All
over.
right.
He thought he listen. I thought that was simple enough. I didn't give a shit because it's like he wanted to. He thought Hitler fuck it up. I gotta do a better job. That's it. Simple.
All right.
Not
No,
hard for me.
well, I guess for me, why I was let down by it because I was just thinking like like with something like Series the Lost Ark, right?
Right.
And Holy Grail, right? Sorry, and Last Crusade. The idea is if you acquire this thing, Dread, and it goes into the wrong hands, serious shit could happen, like
Right.
end of the world kind of stuff, right? Even though it's a period piece, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was assuming. Not I could go back in time and kill Hitler,
My problem
and
is that he
then
didn't
what?
die. He had a lame death. I thought he was gonna. He should have a weird time travel death, like he grow young and turn to fetus or some shit like that. That is why I
Oh,
find
that would have been dope, right?
that'd be really dope. Whatever. He
Yeah.
just dead normal. Whatever.
And to
Dash.
touch on
Whatever.
that, I like that to bring this up, right? The word I should have used also to how to describe this movie is sanitized, Dread, right?
Yeah. It feels
Because
sanitized. It feels a lot more PG.
even
Yeah.
even with the PG-13 rating,
It felt
Dread,
PG.
right?
Yeah.
Even with Kathleen Kennedy running things now, right? We couldn't even get like a gross out moment like what
Nothing.
you've
Yeah.
seen in the other films, right?
Yeah.
Even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Well, the big grosser moment for me actually was this guy getting killed by these man-eating ants, and they
Right.
actually pull him into like that. That
Right.
is like fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Even as goofy as silly as it really looks, right? But we didn't get none of that in this though.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, in the Indiana Jones series have a lot going on with it, right? But you kind of remember the gross out weird moments, so like you remember the heart being pulled out, remember the Nazis melting and whatnot, right? Those are moments that stick out to you for better or for worse, right? We got
I
nothing like
find
that in this movie.
the
Nothing.
guy agent that do the agent in Lost
In the
Crusade
third one,
was
yes, that was
brilliant.
great.
Still to this
Like a
day, one of the most
great piece
brilliant
of
effects. Yeah.
yeah of VFX ever
Yeah.
put to screen, in
Yeah.
my
Exactly.
opinion, right? Because all done in camera, right?
Yeah. It looked
We
great.
get
Yeah.
nothing like that in this
Yeah.
movie. Nothing. What you're afraid of scaring the kids, but you have a PG freaking rating though. What
Yeah.
you worried about?
Exactly.
Could have come up with something else, but you want to stay true to the Indiana Jones films, right? So why we couldn't get a moment like that, right?
You're right.
But yeah, so time portal stuff, blah blah blah. We end up in the wrong time, right? So we in ancient times and we see Archimedes, right? Okay,
Right.
cool. All right, interesting. So you get like this little
And then
battle and whatnot. All right, okay, shit,
yeah.
blah blah blah. But dog, and this right here, I'll tell you one time, Ricardo, this is going to be the moment that will divide viewers, right?
You're right.
In the getting this crisis of culture, saying, you know what? Wow, like I'm actually in 2000 BC, man. I should stay.
Dumb.
Okay, the show. I will give credit to the show, right? The show set it up kind of subtly, right?
No,
So they say
he
that
hate his life.
right. So
The
they say
old
right,
man who
exactly,
hates his
right.
life.
He's
Whatever.
out with a woman, right? So okay,
Yeah.
he and Marion break up, right?
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay. They explain why later on because Shia LaBeouf character
He
went to
dead. Yeah.
Vietnam
Yeah.
and he died, right? Yeah,
Mud get Pucci.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? Okay, understand. Okay. But and I understand just in relation to what the theme of what we've seen through these previous films, right? The idea of discovery, the idea that oh wow, this ancient thing, and we should find it, and in his case, it belongs in the museum, right?
Right.
Something like that. All right, I understand, right? Is the joy of discovery and knowledge and understanding these things. Okay, cool, right? And and thematically it makes sense. Like, okay, now you are in this ancient time, so you are seeing this for yourself. Don't mind, it is in a battle where you could lose your life, and the plane that you was in, crash and you're almost dead. Okay, but you just decide in that moment, right? I just want to stay here. The portal, sorry, is closing up, right? And then you
Yeah.
had Phoebe character, right? Helena, pretty much telling you, like, dude, what? Were you on shit or something? Like,
Yeah.
dude, you
Whatever.
need to come back. And just Indy, like, nah, I just need to stay here. I just paraphrase here, this kind of exaggerated. But nah, I just need to stay here. that moment nearly take me out of the show now.
Yeah,
I
whatever.
imagine it will do this.
You,
It will be that way for many
I
people who
was
see it.
I was already checked out before, so I couldn't give a shit. I was like, all right, well, whatever now. I couldn't care, so it's like whatever now. I didn't care one way or the other. So it's like I just kind
Yeah.
of make some sense, and then she had a meltdown because she really cared about him all of a sudden, and all of a sudden she have a heart.
And they
Yeah,
didn't even set that up properly,
they didn't
like
set
their
that up either.
relationship, because
Yeah,
it was, and to me that's one of the show's main problems, right? Because it's angry old indie
right.
complaining at
Young
Helena,
woman,
who is, young Helena,
young
who
hot
is,
sexiness. Yeah,
yeah, you're right,
and
you're right,
busted
who is pretty
oldness,
much, yes,
old
who is
and
pretty much
busted.
pissed them off, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Old and
yeah,
busted versus young and sexy. That's the whole show.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah,
and she's pissing them off like intentionally and unintentionally too. Eh?
right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, and then they have these few moments, like, when they reveal what happened to Mutt and all that, where they want to establish that there could be this father daughter thing going on, but it's not
Yeah.
enough. It's just not enough,
Yeah.
right? I do like, however, Helena's decision where she punched him in the face.
Right. Well,
That's a nice callback to Marion and where they first met in Razzie Lawsack. That was fine. But that's that, shut the fuck up, blow. I like that, right?
right.
And then he wakes up in the real in his time. I like
Right.
that, right? Speaking of Marion Dread,
Right. She come back. It's fine.
I
I don't care.
am probably one of the few who hate the ending of this movie, Dread.
Yeah. Whatever.
So context, right? He is home. He is injured.
Matthew, you real
That's not.
spending,
That's not.
you
That's
real
not.
spending
I'm
energy
gonna
on
wrap
this
up.
boy.
I'm gonna wrap up,
Yeah.
dog. You know me. You know me. I put energy into this, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna wrap up, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So Helena tell him, you're back home and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff, right? And I forgot to mention, Salah shows up here, and there's a moment played by the same actor, John Rhys Stevens,
Yeah.
right?
He came
There's a
back. Right.
moment
Right. I forget he
where
come back. Right. Yeah. In the
where he
beginning.
say
Yeah.
basically that he wanted to go on the adventure, and
Which they
he
should
just
have
did,
done.
all right, well, he going to do it. Nope,
Yeah. Nah.
you,
They do
you
that.
can
Too
jump
old for
on
that.
that plane, bro.
Old man.
I like, why?
Yeah. Nobody
Okay,
care.
well,
Right.
right. So they leave, right? And then Marion shows up, right?
Right.
Just to check up on Nini, right? And they talk for a bit, and it's cute and whatnot. And, it's cool seeing Karen again and whatnot, right? Again, I find that she's wasted in this.
Yeah.
Not as much as in Crystal Skull, but just the appearance is like, all right, we really doing this? But
Yeah.
again, it's the sum things up, right? I guess, right? Okay, right? But there's a moment where she says, where does it hurt? It hurts everywhere, right? And then the show had the fucking gall to repeat one of the really heartfelt moments of Raiders of the Lost Ark now. Kiss the elbow, kiss this.
Yeah. Whatever.
I want to see that, right? So it's reversed now. So she puts the
Nos-
elbow and he
nostalgia
kisses, right?
sludge. Nostalgia sludge. That's why I don't
When I
care.
saw that, Ricardo, swear
Yeah.
to God,
Yeah.
I
Nostalgia.
was like, I see this out loud. We really fucking doing this?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
People behind me was laughing,
Yeah.
right?
Nostalgia
'Cause I don't
sludge.
think I think they know what it is I'm talking about, and
Yeah.
the nostalgia sludge, right? But I said this out loud. We really fucking doing this?
Yeah.
We really doing this?
I know you
We
real
we
invested.
we saw we
I
saw
so
we saw what to touch on nostalgia. Why the series matter?
you
We have
real
to go back to this, bro.
you real invested in this boy. I don't move on long time, dog. It's like I real don't
I'm
care.
sorry, boy. I'm
I remember.
sorry. That
Wrap up and
pissed
get a
me off,
spoiler.
though.
Yeah,
That
not
pissed me
really.
off, though. You know what I mean?
I don't care.
And then it just ended with the Irish shot on the hat. I like, all right,
Yeah, move it
okay,
on. Enough.
okay, moving on.
Yeah,
So yeah, again, just to repeat, rating wise, strong 2.5. That like 3 out of
yeah,
5. See it if you want to. Really, this show just kind of exists just because it's Disney and we own this now. To the mere point that with all the other films, it starts off with Paramount and then it just dissolves into a shot that starts the film.
yeah.
Nah, no, it dissolves from Lucasfilm. I'm like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
okay, Colleen, this is where
I
we
know
at now.
they
Okay,
have the Disney 100th anniversary, so it's like all right.
yeah, and
Yeah,
Disney 100, which I
yeah,
was like, what?
yeah.
we did this, you know.
I will reach.
So again, folks, I am not the biggest indie fan though, but this to me just felt really pointless.
Yeah,
I
terrible.
understand why they do it. I understand because it's Harrison Ford and he again and younger. Okay, so we want to keep that torch going, but I'm sorry, we had two farewells already. That would be Last Crusade and
Yep.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Last
Why do
Crusade
we
was
need
it?
this? And yeah, it is still for me, the farewell, all right?
Yeah.
And Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, for better or for worse, is an epilogue that nobody asked for. We get anyway, right?
Mhm.
This one feels like okay, we should really end this,
Yeah.
like I get, I
Enough.
understand, but we should really, really end this, man.
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
Right. That's it. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on, moving on.
As I say, there's more nostalgia bile that you're slapping this generation on the back with. Time to
You know,
get all out of your system. Tired of that shit. Moving on.
yeah, boy.